members of the human family. Today is Tuesday, the 23rd of July 2024. Welcome to the General Durability Podcast. I am Atman Wagdi in Mohammedia, Morocco. And my guest is Victor Vorski from Poland. He is an entrepreneur working on villages, regenerative villages, and he is advocating for regenerative agriculture and regeneration in general. He is today with us to help us in our quest for knowledge, ultimately self-knowledge. Welcome, Victor. How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you here today and to have this conversation. We've had a good number of conversations without recording it, but exciting to be getting it into bits.
Yes, nice. The podcast anyway started as a reaction to the events you are organizing. So great to have you on. Please, Victor, take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how it came to be that you advocate for regeneration in general.
So, where do I start? I'm 52 years old, so there's different parts of the journey. I've lived in many different places, many different countries. I think at a very simple level, it's a reaction to not feeling comfortable in the world at large as it is. And I've experienced many parts of the world. I was born in Poland under socialism,
Yeah.
which was materially very nice, but socially broken. Then I've lived in Kuwait, in Canada, in Japan, in many places, and somehow always everywhere I went, I didn't feel fully at home. And after a while, I think my deeper exploration started in 2008, during
Yeah.
the financial crash. I started reading about money and discovering all of the systemic effects that money has at shaping our reality. And then I started reading about all the alternatives, and I discovered the whole amazing ecosystem of change makers that are looking at it, working at alternatives to money and all of the challenges of bringing that to life.
Yeah.
Then a key part of my journey has been I've been working remotely for over 20 years, and that allowed me to, it took me 3 years, but it allowed me to realize, wait, why am I living in the middle of this big city if I could be living somewhere else? So I moved out. I was in Japan at the time. I moved out from the center of Tokyo to far outskirts, a beautiful village, historical town close to the ocean. And I discovered how great a benefit to my mental health and well-being living
Yeah.
in nature had. And I was like, wow, this is amazing, except it's nice people living in the countryside, but it's not people I have a connection or culture with, so no belonging again. And that
Yes.
brought me to the idea of how can I have this wonderful benefit of living in nature, of having land to get hands dirty in, but doing it together with people like you in a community of friends, of people that are building startups, of people that are into crafts, so this idea of combining a modern lifestyle, uh, online, remote work, building startups, doing creative stuff digitally, with living in nature, close to the land. And
Yeah.
that brought me to build a village. And now for over 10 years, I've been on this journey. For a while, I was playfully calling it Village 3.0 because I was searching for a name. I really see that it's a different kind of movement, because it's not people who are trying to escape all of modernity and hoping to go back into a pastoral agricultural life, but people who like many parts of modernity but want it better and in nature. I came to do Regeneration about 4 or 5 years ago. We did a conference around village building, and we're searching for what is the theme, and then regenerative village building came to us. So I've been going deeper and deeper in this space and realizing how profound it is and how it really captures everything that I've been searching for and that I haven't been finding in the mainstream legacy systems, or even in the green movement, the protest movement, and many of the other movements that are out there.
And now you are co-founding or co-founded the Gathering of Tribes, and yes, we should put light on that. I see it in your background. But let's first of all let's start with some definitions for the audience. What do we mean by tribe? And what are some reasons that led in the past to gatherings of tribes?
I think as we move into the 21st century, the regenerative era from the one side, but the technology-enabled collaboration from the other side. I think we're going to see, and we're starting to see the emergence of many different kinds of human associations,
Yes, yeah,
community collaborations. We're seeing online communities. These are slowly turning into communities of people doing things together. There's the crypto world, the DAOs, but I think they're interesting, but it's a limited idea space. I think there's much more to be explored in how we come together as people. If you look at the evolution, and I really like to look at the last 10,000 years since
yes,
agriculture, it's been all downhill since agriculture, but we've really seen this change, especially accelerated over the past 150 years, where we've moved through a life centered on family, extended family, and this was a much bigger unit than just 2, 4 people. It was
yeah,
multi-generational, 10, 20 people. The neighborhood, village, tribe, right, where people work together, we're connected together.
yeah,
We've moved to a system now where our primary association is the nation state, the company that you work for, which is oftentimes a big corporation, and maybe your football team.
yeah, yeah, okay,
Right? These are our kind of associations. And certainly they've been great. They've taken us through the 19th, 20th centuries. But I believe clearly through the mental health crisis and so many of us searching, it doesn't the nation state on the one side and the corporation on the other don't fulfill many of our basic human cravings, which are built into our DNA of
yeah,
connection, contribution,
yeah,
of belonging, yet belonging to something that you can meaningfully contribute to. But the result has been the children are not with the family, they're not with the elderly, they're not in the community, they're in an
yeah,
institution.
yeah, yeah,
Elderly are in an institution.
yeah,
Who takes care of you when you're old? An institution and the pension plan. And there's been many good sides to it, but I think it's gone much to the extreme. Now, on the flip side, now with digital collaboration, you and I, we're talking over the internet. You're a
yeah,
couple hundred, maybe 1,000 kilometers away from me. But for sure, I feel that our idea, our emotional, our friendship distance is much much smaller than our geographic distance.
yes,
And
yes,
so this enables us we've been building a kind of start of a friendship. Maybe we'll work on a project together sometime, right? And it's entirely
yeah,
feasible. So even as the local physical community and neighborhood and families breaking down, we're seeing the emergence of these online or
yeah,
enabled through digital technology, and even local community, right? Even your relationship with your partner is enabled through WhatsApp messages or emails or whatever, right? So
uh,
every relationship is now to some degree or other mediated through electronic means. And that creates a huge possibility. I think we're starting to see the emergence of it. Certainly, we have a lot of communication groups and people talking. There's
yeah,
chats with hundreds, with thousands of people, with hundreds of thousands of people, even some groups on Facebook.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
what I believe, and this is great, and it's great for disseminating ideas, also negative ideas, but that's a separate thing. But it's great for disseminating ideas, learning, building connection. But what I believe is we need to go to the next steps, which means building connection for action. That's the Gathering of Tribe motto, to actually
Yeah.
make things happen. Building connections for mutual support, right? Like we're in a mental health crisis, but it's so easy, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, most people, they need is somebody to listen to them. Most of the time, what people need is 8 minutes. Somebody just to listen to them for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's enough to feel better, to not feel alone, right?
Yes. Yes. For sure. For
So,
example, I'm doing very similar things. I'm engaging with my ideas online. But in the physical world, I have very rare people to talk to about my deep ideas. I have friends in Germany, in France, especially, and at distance you can communicate. What you have called us in last time, what was the name of it? Idea-Space. This connection is there, but online is definitely not enough, so we need to move beyond that, and that's what the gathering of tribes of 2024 is all about, isn't it? It's just to bring people who
so
are already connected in idea space together in the space-time coordinates together. Uh, Tell us a
yes,
little bit about that.
yes. So I wanted to disagree with one thing. It's
Yeah,
not that online is not enough, it's different, right? You need, it's different tools for different things.
yeah,
And after 20 plus years working remotely, I've really come to appreciate certain things like building the initial relationship, creating vision alignment, vision values alignment, having difficult conversations, working
yeah,
through conflict. These kinds of things are much easier. I mean, they're still very hard, but they're much more
yeah.
practicable, and it's easier to do it in person.
Yes,
Because when we're together in person, we forget, but we are sitting on millions of years of evolution
yes,
designed to help us build trust with each other. It's
yes,
not just what you say, it's not just what you look. Every micro reaction, which doesn't even come through Zoom, it's how you smell, right? We don't
yeah,
think about this, but our subconscious processes, I can smell whether you're putting out fear or this or that. We don't think about all of this, but there's millions of years of evolution which is working subconsciously and helping us with this. And certainly when it comes to conflict, right? All of
yeah,
this micro body actions and all of this, it's so much easier to have a hard conversation in
yeah,
person. And then afterwards, we can hug each other and say, man, I'm sorry, it's just completely different. So we need this time in person. At the same time, I believe the time in person is super valuable. So we need to use it really wisely. There is cost in time, cost in money, cost in carbon, cost in other resources, right? And that's why I think we need to reinvent how we come together for this reality of remote work, of new ways of working together. I think existing conferences are not giving us the maximum use of this time for really building connection and making things happen. So, for example, most conferences are designed around talks. I think
yeah.
talks are great, and I think YouTube is for talks.